And in the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he's down 0-1, but we've seen him have miraculous comebacks before. It is StarCraft.
And anytime there's a Protoss versus Terran, or really a Protoss versus anything, I've got my mental little pen and paper out, much like everyone does when a Day 9 daily is going on.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jeff.
It's a good program I heard about. I think your brother puts it on.
Yes, the Day 9 Daily, where we learn to be a better gamer. I would love it if you'd go to day9.tv and come say hi. Woo! Yeah, thank you. One guy. Woo! Out in the audience.
There's like a slip then a woo, so hopefully that ended well. Actually, I can't see out there.
Now, I do want to ask your opinion, Jeff. Yeah. On this map, Crevasse, it's very easy to get away with an early expand, but how concerned are you of some sort of huge early push? I mean, these backdoor expansions are so safe, but I mean, so often you'll see Terrans just 3 racks aggress early on.
Well, there's kind of an interesting exchange. We already have 2 expansions immediately available to us. There's the one that's super safe, but to your point earlier, it's very droppable. You can actually have a lot of surface area to drop there and then extend into the main. But a lot of players will actually, well, that's neither here nor there. We have a fast nexus going down at the expansion inside its own main, and I like this choice. If there's a fast push, well, I'm going to just stop talking. They both fast expanded, so it can't be that fast. So, I mean, they're both doing the same thing.
And it definitely means we're going to be going into a very long-term game. And this is, wow, this SCV does not know what direction he's building in. That's talent. He's building with his elbows backwards. Now, one thing to note, though, we've seen Puma now utilize 2 completely different ends of the spectrum. In game 1, essentially going for a all-in play that was successful, and now going for the very fast command center. It's going to be the exact opposite of long-term macro game, but I definitely think that plays to Squirtle's strengths.
And also, I want to say that I think it plays to the map, and I think that's a really important thing that kind of divides players like Squirtle and Puma, who are in the round of 8 of the NASL Grand Finals for Season 1, and players who didn't make it here. It's not forcing yourself onto the map, it's playing to the map and the matchup and the opponent, and I really see that being executed here.
That's so easy to do, to think, what strategy do I think is cool? All right, let me bend the map to make it work. You always have to obey what the map's allowing you to do.
Yes.
And these sort of fast expansions at the back door, so great, such a great way to exploit this map. Very curious to see the way that Puma will follow this up. With Protoss, it's a little bit more standard, but there's so many variations for the Terran player, and it looks like, oh, does not manage to get that probe that was on the escape.
He will survive. Probe does get out of there. It does see the double barracks opening, which is actually interesting to note. You can fast expand on this map, and because of that ramp, you can actually count on teching up fairly well. It is a little bit more risky, but with that double barracks opening and the gasless main base, well, you know, actually both Protoss probably reasonably sure, or both players, excuse me, that there is a gas being taken at the natural. Players like to do that. I think it's just a little bit less information for their opponent, keeps them guessing a little bit more.
There are some iterations of the map that also have a rich Vespene gas geyser.
Yes.
And then when they removed it, players just kind of autopilot through as well.
That's true.
But like you said, splitting up those geysers, if a scan or an observer pops in, is a little less information at the time. And we do see that one Stalker out. That's one of the most important units early on for a Protoss player, purely for that vision advantage, shutting down any sort of SCVs moving through the center of the map. And now the Zealot Stalker pressure by Protoss will be able to push all these Marines back to the Terran base.
And that's exactly it. I mean, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but if that Stalker were to ever catch up to those Marines, it would do just enough damage that basically says, if you were ever thinking of any kind of push, now you're really thinking probably not as a Terran player. So Puma, very wisely so, does back off to that ramp where he is going to be safe. And the Stalker's going to start the eternal journey of destroying these destructible rocks all by his lonesome. But I really like the activity of the Stalker. As you said, it stops scouting, but it can also hurt Marines if they're being a little bit too aggressive.
Oh no, oh no, oh no! It was not worth it.
Well, you can just die.
He lived a good life. He shot at a rock for a couple of minutes. And now Squirtle will be on the retreat, pulling everything back home. And this is brilliant play by Puma. It's so easy to go into that defensive concern mindset and not exploit the fact that those Marines are so powerful in terms of map control early on. And Squirtle,
5 gates, 6 gates.
6 gates. Uh-oh. Here's
a bit of a magic number there.
Pylon. And this is terrible for Puma, Jeff. Puma's convinced that he has a complete total lockdown on his half of the map. He has his watchtower. He just killed off a Stalker. The SCV will be able to spot it. Oh my goodness, that was such a great move.
He's got to react right now. If you look at those barracks, they're not producing anything. He's actually taking up to medevac, which could be a great response, but it's very timely. Like, it needs to happen right now. On the other hand, Squirtle is only just now moving across the map. He will lose that pylon, absolutely. And there's no probe over here, so this other probe coming from Squirtle's side of the map is going to be the one that replaces it, and that's actually a huge dampener to this opening.
Wow, Squirtle no longer making workers. Squirtle wants to commit to this attack. We see 2 bunkers getting produced in the main of Puma. How much does Puma know? Well, he hasn't scanned the back. He knows that the main is up, but upon seeing that pylon, Puma might have a little spider sense going off, wondering why a player would be trying to do that much pressure early on. And there's another pylon going down, Jeff, on the high ground.
And he's also upgraded Hallucinate, and actually, he has not... He has not shown any hallucination just yet, so I'm wondering if this is less the scout and more the just extra armor, extra DPS absorbent ability to his army. But I gotta say, with 2, now 3 bunkers going down, 4 bunkers at the top of that ramp.
God.
This would be suicide. Yeah, it would be suicide to go up that ramp.
He'd have to get some absolutely amazing hallucinates off. We see almost all zealots and sentries. It's hard to support anything else on 6 gates at this stage in the game. We see a warp prism moving over to the back. Oh, this is brilliant. What a great distracting technique. Oh, that's so good. Puma, where are his units? There's the warp prism in the back.
He's not falling for it.
He's not falling for it.
That's a lot of zealots, though, and with these marauders, they're not doing that much damage.
But there's a medevac going down to the bottom left. That's where all of Puma's units are, and it looks like Puma throwing down some amazing force fields. The zealot numbers by Squirtle are absolutely enormous. There are not many units at all in the main, and it looks like Squirtle's going to be able to break through.
These zealots are withstanding that damage wonderfully, now cutting through the SCVs. This drop has to destroy everything in Squirtle's base because, quite frankly, the same favor is being returned in Puma's base right now. And these medevacs have nothing to heal but SCVs. Here comes the drop in that natural. It's got to do a lot of damage, but quite frankly, with 7 gateways, I'm not sure it can do it.
And there now we see Squirtle warping in more stalkers to try to keep this main alive. Puma will be able to pick off one, but meanwhile, in Puma's main, this total devastation. Stalkers moving up to the top right. Expansion, zealots and sentries working away at the barracks, and Squirtle will be able to pick off these lone stalkers, and these 8 Marines are going to have to be heroes to pull him back in.
And we're going to have one of those weird games, potentially. I mean, this is going to get strange here real quick. It's going to be 2 stalkers, 2 zealots trying to charge into those Marines. Marines taking excellent position behind the mineral line, funneling down the Protoss units. They're not going to get in there for damage. Now the probes do squeeze through, and they are getting some kind of a surround. The Marines are getting weathered. Squirtle's going to do it. The Marines do go down, as well as the medevacs. And meanwhile, in the Terran base, there is nothing to be spoken of. There's the GG. It is tied.